What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you an all-new Viva La Vinyl classic album review, and it does not get much more classic than this, folks. The 1967 debut masterpiece by The Doors, one of my favorite rock bands of all time, and this happens to be my favorite album by them. I'm sure a lot of you would agree. They never quite topped this, even though they had tons of solid material in their short career. This is just one of the greatest debut albums ever. I mean, just the opening track, Break On Through to the Other Side, which kind of perfectly encapsulates the Doors sound. It's a great way to be introduced to the band, both musically and lyrically. I mean, it kind of just tells the story of the Doors, you know, the Doors of perception that Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek came up with, and breaking on through to the other side, which the lyrics are just so profound, so dark and mysterious, while also being somehow at the same time beautiful and hopeful. But that is really what the Doors are in a nutshell. And then just the opening guitar riff from Robbie Krieger is so cool, which he claims he somewhat stole from Shake Your Moneymaker by the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. These guys right here, great people to steal from if you're going to. And then Ray Manzarek claims he lifted the bass line from Ray Charles's What I Say, which makes a lot of sense. And when you marry those sounds with the jazzy and kind of Latin flair of John Densmore's drumming, you have a sound like never before and never since, to be honest with you. And then, I mean, Jim Morrison, the vocals, they're going from, you know, these kind of calm, smooth, all the way to just wild, chaotic, and just all over the place. And throughout the album, it's truly just the Jim Morrison show, even though the band is incredible altogether. But on songs like Light My Fire, for example, Jim Morrison's performance is what carries that song, even though it is written almost 100% by Robbie Krieger, the guitar player. It's obviously the song that really catapulted this album into being, I think it charted at the highest at number 2, right under Sgt. Pepper in 1967. Which just incredible when you think about how far these guys came. And, you know, Ray Manzarek said this is essentially their live album because they'd been performing a lot building up to this in 1966 in Los Angeles at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And it's just them playing live in the studio, basically. And, you know, interesting story, the last song on this album, The End, which is just one of the most amazing 10-plus minute songs of all time. It's so epic. But a little bit of trivia, they were seen performing that song and ended up getting kicked out because of all the profanity towards the end of the song. But in that same performance, producer Paul Rothchild discovered them and said, guys, we got to get this on record. And there you have it. They recorded this album. But going back to The End, I know I'm jumping all over the place in the order of this record. Man, what a song. I mean, just the lyrics, my only friend, the end, kind of embracing death and going on this climax, both musically and lyrically, going into this kind of Oedipus Rex tale of poetry that Jim Morrison, it gets really dark. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you've never heard it, but man, what an amazing piece of music that this builds up to, and so beautifully used in Apocalypse Now in the beginning of that film with the napalm and the explosions, just crazy. And, you know, it's so hard to say what this is. I mean, it's a rock album, but it really kind of came along at the perfect time where psychedelic other albums like Are You Experienced by Jimi Hendrix right here, it really rivals that as just one of the pioneer albums of that time. Just so much great experimental music. Songs like Alabama Song, which is a weird cover of like a 1920s cabaret song where they're saying, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. You would think it wouldn't fit in on this at all, but somehow it does, because it's so weird and fits in with the psychedelic feel, and it just feels timeless for that reason, the whole record. I mean, there's so many other great songs. Soul Kitchen is one that never gets enough love. You never really see it on greatest hits compilations, but what a cool riff that they kind of used again to an extent on When the Music's Over on their next album. But Soul Kitchen is such a strong track, such a driving rock song with a great chorus. And then you have The Crystal Ship, one of their best ballads, short and sweet. Ray Manzarek going to piano on that one, and Jim in full crooner mode on that one. Some really beautiful dark poetry on that. I love how it starts out with just the vocal, before you slip into unconsciousness. Just so cool, man. The Doors were just the coolest. And then, as I mentioned, Light My Fire, Come On, Gotta Love It. I do feel like the extended organ solo is a little long for my taste, and I'm glad there's a version out there that is trimmed down for radio play, because 7+ minutes is a little too long for that track. But still, I mean, come on, one of the best Doors songs ever. Oh, starting off side B with Backdoor Man, a cover of the Willie Dixon blues classic. I mean, Jim Morrison's vocals on this thing are just nuts when he starts yelling at the end, I'm a backdoor man. It's like, yes, man, this is so cool. And then you got even the other tracks that don't really hold up to the stronger ones, like I Looked at You, End of the Night, Take It As It Comes. End of the Night is actually very cool and very underrated, very creepy. And then I totally skipped over 20th Century Fox, which is kind of more of an upbeat, fun song, which you don't hear a lot in a lot of the Doors catalog. They're always mixing love and death usually, but this one is more fun, talking about a fox, kind of like Hendrix's Foxy Lady. I guess that was a term that was used for beautiful women a lot in those times, so kind of cool, but not one of their best. So overall, I would say if I had to give this a grade, I would give this a very strong 9 out of 10. It is not a perfect record, but it is definitely one of the best records of all time. And as I said, one of the best debuts of all time. And if I had to pick my two favorites, I would say Break On Through and Light My Fire. The End, a very close 3. Just so much great stuff on this album. So let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite tracks? What would you rate this album? And how has The Doors affected you? I mean, I remember the first time I heard this being like, what is this, man? This is unlike anything I've ever heard. And when I still to this day, when I put it on, I'm like transported back to that time thinking, yes, man, there's nothing like The Doors. So thank you, The Doors, and thank you guys for watching. We got so much more on this channel, top 5s every Friday, album reviews, so much more. Thank you for watching, and as always, Viva La Vinyl. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and be sure to ring the bell for notifications so you can always see great quality content like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you so much for supporting Johnny Radio, and I'll see you soon.